guys! So my answer to the first question, which is basically talking about the differences between test-taking accommodations in schools in wealthy communities and schools in communities of poverty. I think this is because of two reasons. First, there's different amounts of money being funneled into schools. Well, I guess three reasons. There's different amount of money being funneled into schools. There's more access because of the money being funneled into these schools from different communities. There's different access to different materials and different, just all around, more access to a little bit of everything to be able to give accommodations. My second reasoning is that students are more identified, like more easily identified within a town or school that has more money, is a little bit more affluent, because a lot of the time we have students of minorities who often get kind of ignored, or we have a bias to where we unconsciously go, oh, well, they're just a bad student, or oh, they're just trying to cause trouble. And instead of noticing what we should be noticing as, okay, they're presenting all these signs for this, how do we help them? We just kind of make a blanket statement of, oh, they're bad kids. This also, my third reason is that in schools that have a wealthier kind of area, these students aren't treated as other. They're within these classrooms, there's people helping them. Kind of goes back to the first of, like, there's more money being taken into these schools in areas of lower poverty, like in poverty levels. Students are separated and kind of isolated and kind of just like, we'll deal with you separately. Just and that's all information I'm getting from a paper by Northwestern. Sorry, I'm rambling and I'm so sorry. The second question, which is about studying and test-taking strategies. The study strategies I use is I write all my notes by hand. Every note I take, it's all by hand. I go through, I reread PowerPoints, I make Quizlets, I transfer it over somewhere, I rewrite it, I make little quizzes, I make Kahoots, I do things like that in order to re-see the material again. And my test-taking strategies are what we would normally think of as reading strategies, like you would do in like 6th grade, where you underline the question, you look for pertinent information within the question, things like that, just to break down the question a little bit more for me to be able to like have a better grip on what I'm reading. I find they've been successful for me. I'm just one of those people that I have to see it multiple times. I have to kind of do it by hand to just impress it into my brain. And test-taking strategies work for me because I also go through and I read everything once before I even start the test. I also go through and do if I can't understand a question or I'm struggling really hard, I'll skip it and come back to it. And I find it works really well for me. It just depends. It's worked really well for me in the classes I've been in. Sometimes it helps to do other things, sometimes it doesn't. I learned these through just kind of my parents. My dad would always be the person to be like, oh, if you don't understand it, just skip it and come back and we'll work on it in a minute. And also in middle school, you learn all your reading test strategies when you take the STAR test, and it's like, go through your passage, look for this information. So that's kind of where I learned it. And for the final question, do grading alternatives. So I do not think that accommodations and grading alternatives reduce course integrity if they're done correctly. I believe that when we work together and we go, okay, this student needs these accommodations. This is how we're going to make them. And the level that they're having to do is the same level that your students who are in general education or even your higher kind of education are doing. It's at the same level. Like if I have a student who has trouble reading, having a student being read to, they're still going to have to answer those questions. They still have to think about that question. They still have to analyze it. They're just getting help. They're doing the same basic stuff that each level is doing. So I don't think that it reduces the course integrity if it's done right. Now, say if I just go, okay, this student has trouble reading, I'm just going to make a very, very, very simple test where they just have to I don't know, write down 2 or 3 things. But it's different from this group who has to write like a short answer kind of thing. Different things like that. It all depends on how you do it. I also think that grades should be kind of a collaboration effect, work with other students, work with other teachers. Go, okay, this is how I'm grading this. Oh, you're grading it like this. Maybe this is going to be more effective. It kind of comes down to different ways of assessment too. If you're only doing um, like multiple choice questions, your grading is going to be very basic. You can't really change your multiple choice stuff. So it also comes down to assessment. But that's kind of how I feel about everything, and I hope y'all like it. Thank you. Bye.